Welcome to On the Chain.
This is Scott Chamberlain put out a good tweet. I thought this was good. I always like when people put out some really easy to read tweets, not, you have to read too much into it.
You don't want to read too much through it. Yeah.
Scott Chamberlain, former attorney, but he is the co-founder of Evernode. Heard a lot about Evernode and Zahau. He put out this tweet right here, and he's basically saying these are the fun Zahau facts, and as opposed to the horrible, unfun Zahau facts. These are the fun ones. So the token is called Zahau XRP. The ticker is XRP plus. Okay. XRP plus is just the suggested ticker, and this
thank goodness.
Yeah, it's probably not going to end up being XRP plus because I mean, how utterly confusing and horrendous could that be?
It was a bad idea. Bad idea. Don't know who gave him the advice to say XRP plus would be a good idea. Someone
suggested XRPP when it's already taken by XRPP. So the exchanges might not adopt it. Of course not. I've never. Have you ever seen a plus or a symbol? It's 3 letters. It's alphanumeric. There's no.
I think it should just be two letters. Then it should just be XA.
Yeah. Well, or how about XAH?
Or XAH. You could do that too.
Yeah, XAH. Cool. Zahau.
You obviously can't do X. X is already taken.
Yeah. So tickers are hard because most are already taken. Good point. And most projects have already died and gone someplace where the sun doesn't shine. And the Zahau ledger isn't a canary. It's just agile.
Is that a shot across somebody's bow?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
He's just talking about. No, I mean you're reading into it too much. It's just agile. It's the ecosystems cruiser to the XRPL battleship. Number 4, Evernode and Zahau are 2 different things. So Evernode is Zahau's first use case. It's sort of anchor tenant, if you will. And he goes on to say that they're launching on Zahau because it has hooks. So the whole idea.
Very cool.
We've heard about this hooks. Hooks are just smart contracts, right? That's all it is, smart contracts.
We love hooks. We love hooks and sidechains.
Yeah. So hooks actually got a name called Zahau. The reason Evernode's using it is because of the hooks. It makes a lot of sense.
Cool. And it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, smart contracts is kind of a dumb name too, but hooks doesn't help any, right? So
hooks definitely does not help. But I think if you think about it from a developer's perspective, a programmability perspective, they want to have some cool name for it. Call it hooks. Maybe it makes sense in that world. In mainstream business sense, I think hooks is very confusing. Smart contracts actually makes more sense than the hooks.
Yeah,
but
if you think about hooks, it does kind of describe what happens. A smart contract,
you need them both.
You know what that reminds me of? I mean, Jeff, do we ever call it a smartphone anymore? Remember, it's a smartphone. What does it do? Well, it does everything but actually dial phone numbers, right? So it's like who actually makes phone calls on their phones?
Right, yeah. Call me on my phone. Call me on what? Here you go. Car phone, cell phone, smartphone.
Yeah, I mean, I've always.
Which one do you use?
Well, here's the one I use. First of all, most phones don't use cell technology anymore, so calling it a cell phone is already antiquated. I've been calling it a mobile phone for like 15 years because it's a mobile phone.
Right.
Yeah, it's a mobile. You call me on my mobile, whatever. But people still say call me on my cell, almost unless you have
all the time. I should just say call me on my cell or call me on here's my cell phone number.
Yeah, but doesn't use cellular technology anymore. Unless you have one of those flip phones. You have a Nokia, don't you? I knew it.
Yeah.
You have a Nokia. See, there you go. See that is a cell phone. Okay, then
it is.
Can't correct it.
When I tell people to call me on my cell phone, what I really mean is call me on this cool little phone here.
Yeah, it's so little, Jeff. It's like it's a half a brick.
Dude, this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah,
I wish. I would love to have one of these. I would love to have one of these back. This is the best thing ever.
No, not me.
Dude,
I had one of those. No. That's the other thing. Like I got a couple of pet peeves around phones. So like if I think about mobiles,
how about did you have a StarTech?
I didn't have a StarTech. No,
you did not.
No, I jumped right into. I was that nut job waiting in line for like 4 hours to get the first iPhone. That was me. But before that, I had the one. We talked about this before. I had the one that had the little built-in buttons with the The Palm Pilot. No, was it the Palm Pilot? Yeah, the Palm Pilot. I had that one.
But what did you have before that though?
I had a
What
Razor.
phone? The Razor.
Hello,
Which one was
What was
Which
it?
one was the
Hello,
Razor?
hello, Mojo or
What did the
Moho,
Razor
whatever.
look like? Was that a flip phone?
The Razor was a flip phone, yeah.
Oh
What was
yeah, I
that one?
remember that
Hello.
one.
What was that one that was
Oh,
the
I
whole
remember those flip.
hello
Hello,
Mojo?
Moto.
Or, was it Mojo or
Hello,
Moho? Or,
Moto. No, Moto.
hello,
Hello,
Moto. It was a
Moto.
Motorola, right? Hello, Moto. That was the whole like sort of thing. Then I had the Palm.
And then Mazda.
Yeah, the Razor was a good one, but I had some crappy one before that. And then everything changed when it went to iPhone. And then Android and
What year
everything
was
else.
that?
And but we don't call it smartphones anymore.
No,
2007.
BlackBerry.
BlackBerry before
BlackBerry
that.
was
I had a BlackBerry. I turned it and
BlackBerry.
I hated it with the
I liked
passion.
my BlackBerry. It
Hated
was the
everything
only
about
phone
my
that,
BlackBerry.
you know what was nice about it? It was the only phone that traveled international well back then. None of the other
Yeah,
phones
well,
worked properly. And
I don't
typing
know.
on it was the
Those are my
best. I could fly in that thing. I could type without looking, just like
Yeah, now I just talk to
That's
my
the greatest.
smartphone, Jeff.
Yeah.
So the whole point of
I
it
can
is like
talk
we
to
don't call
AI
them
now.
smartphones, like smart
Mhm.
contracts. It's like, you know, at
Yeah,
least
that's the
hooks.
part. Yeah, hooks. You're right. From
Hooks
that
maybe
perspective,
is
the smart
a
part
little
doesn't.
more updated. Smart contracts. They're so smart, Jeff. They know when they want. You can queue them up and execute them on certain events happening. They're smart. Almost anytime you call a contract smart, it's there you go.
Yeah, you know you have an issue.
Oh yeah, that big old bag you had to carry around. That
Dude,
was
I remember. Yeah.
crazy.
Oh, the big
Yeah.
bricks. The big
So if
brick
you love the
phones, those are
BlackBerry,
awesome too.
those are one of those companies that couldn't make it, couldn't figure it out. They couldn't adapt and they lost and they went out of business. The other bad thing was, I think they were like
BlackBerry.
one of those first companies, the pioneer, the two dual CEOs. Sorry, man, not a good
That was-
idea. That was like the first red flag right there. It's like you're headed for disaster. Nokia at least did a
Oh
little bit
man,
of pivots.
how about this one? Nextel. I never
Yeah,
had. I knew
Nextel was
friends
another
that
one.
had Nextel. Nextel.
Was that the one that went, and you went, hello?
Yeah.
It was like the little.
That was
Every
exactly.
time I'd be out with my buddies, it'd be, and we're like, dude, shut that thing off. You drive me insane. Are you there?
They were so
Yeah, I'm
crazy.
here.
And anyone who had one thought they were
Yes,
so
I'm
cool.
here. Where are you? I'm at the pub. Which one? I'm like, dude, just call him right now. You drive me insane. Remember that?
Oh my god,
It's
that's
like,
so funny.
it was like it had like
Oh,
a
yeah.
little walkie-talkie sort of like
Yeah.
system in
Oh
it.
yeah, my buddy
And
had one of those
people
too, and they all
just
loved them. They thought they were the greatest thing ever.
oh, they
Like,
did. They thought they were.
stop.
I one night I was like, I can't do this anymore. Just shut up. Call them, text them. I don't give a shit what you do. Just knock it off. So I love to go down technology row and just kind of go through it. It's so funny to hear everybody trip through the this stuff right here.
I'm gonna bring down my Blackberries
Apple
for the next
3G.
show. So I'm gonna have all the Blackberries.
I loved his Apple 3GS. Yeah, I remember I had one of those as well.
I think I wonder if I still have
Yeah.
the old Apple.
Really
I
worrisome.
probably
I have the very first iPhone. I have that. I have every one of the iterations of iPhones. And I realized I spent a lot of money on iPhones over the years.
Huh.
A lot of money on the iPhone. So there you
Yep.
go. Yeah, I've got the very first one. And I realized that it didn't do much. I mean, it didn't have any, it really didn't do anything. It looked cool as hell. I mean, I remember turning that thing on and going, wow, that looks amazing. What does it do? Nothing. But it's cool looking.
But it's
I mean, you could get to the internet. The cool thing was you actually had a mobile sort of a look to, although at the time when it came out, you didn't have mobile ready sites. Remember, everybody was doing the .mobi. The .mobi was the mobile version. Then they realized, well, you know,
oh yeah, that made almost.
they had a mobile version and then they had a regular version. They realized that
you could
once Twitter released Bootstrap, that was gone. It's like you could automatically just based
That
on the
was very
size
cool.
of the screen, the layout would change. But anyway, long-winded stuff to get around. Technology changes, and
and now
goes
we have
on to say,
AI, and you can forget about everything else.
yeah,
AI
everything else is
will
screwed.
solve all of our problems. All
I
right.
saw a really good interview with about one of the guys who coined the phrase AI and talked about it. He said AI, look, it's large these large language models which they're trained on to mimic. It's not really doing any thinking right now. It's just mimicking. So he says, see, you can't just add hooks to mainnet when that's part of the thing. Well,
there's another one. Sorry.
Oh, the Sidekick was another one. Yeah, I remember the Sidekick.
Yeah. All right.
Modern
Number
display phone,
5.
yeah. So you can't
Number
just add
5.
hooks to a mainnet. And this is where we wish they would, right? We wish they would revive. What's the project that Stefan Tomas and Schwartz were working on?
Codius.
Codius, yeah, Codius would be a nice thing if they could get that grooving now because all the tech is out there.
Yeah, I
But
wonder how, with Codius, and then we still have Flare still hanging out in the wind somewhere. Everybody's still working on the solution here. A lot of talk about the hooks, like we're talking about right now, side chains, trying to figure out how to implement completely. A lot of amazing tech out there, a lot of problems to solve, and it isn't completely figured out yet. But people are kind of dabbling in the space right now, and that's what we're talking about. How there could be some solutions out there, but it's still being built, and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, maybe there'll be some other technology that'll help kind of resolve. That's why Flare was a little bit early to the game with everything, and we're starting to see progress outside of that. Flare could be a thing of the past by the time, with all this new technology. They'll start adjusting, and like Ethereum. Yeah, Ethereum
yeah,
will be relegated to a dustbin, potentially. Probably
he
not,
makes
but
he makes a good point here. He says hooks involves breaking changes, mostly
yeah.
around its need for higher and dynamically set fees. So these changes would require updates across the whole ecosystem, leading to complete chaos for exchanges, wallets, and others until everyone caught up. So hooks is a better on its own chain, and he's right about that for now. So careful planning, significant effort, and demonstrable utility that make the effort and risk worthwhile are all necessary for hooks to go live on mainnet. Zahau is more than just hooks. It includes other stalled change requests. Unless you try to build on XRPL, you probably don't know that IOUs cannot be escrowed and cannot benefit for pay channels. These are enormously useful for things like stablecoins. Zahau fixes that, making issued currencies as useful as a native asset. Zahau also includes those URIC tokens, which
we talked about that.
we talked about the other night, and the NFT is the first class ledger object. And this is cool too, because we might see a transition over to Zahau, especially with all the NFTs. We might see that go that way just because a little more flexibility. So finally, the 600 million initial supply of Zahau XRP, I suspect that'll change too, protects the mainnet. It means that with XRP at 50 cents, the Zahau market cap would have to exceed 300 million for it to make any sense for most people to do a burn to mint, coupled with the 2 Zahau XRP each cloned account receives for free to pay for its account reserve and the 5 ledger objects. There is little reason to believe that anyone would need to burn any XRP to mint Zahau XRP in the near future, or maybe ever. And I know a lot of people got freaked out about this whole burn to mint thing. It's like, yeah, he's making a really good point. You may never ever have to ever do that, right? It's built into it, but yeah. He says the burn to mint is an option if it's there if you want it. Idle if you have no use for it. And the thing about the options.
Why would you want it? Why would you want it?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, if you burn to mint, you could actually mint all your tokens in Zahau. Is the way I understand it.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.